Could I lose my Medicaid next year? Okay, so we know that there's going to be a lot of changes to Medicaid starting in 2027 due to the big, beautiful bill. It's going to introduce work requirements for people who are receiving Medicaid. Now, who am I? My name is Ben Shore. I'm an insurance agent who helps assist with Medicare Advantage plans. My clientele predominantly consists of people who are on Medicare and Medicaid, so Medi or dual eligible individuals. Now, as we know, if you're part of this group or know people who are part of this group, they are very vulnerable individuals and often using both these sets of benefits in order to help pay for their doctor's hospitalizations and medicine. Now, with the original work requirements that we saw with the big beautiful bill, it provided a lot of exemptions. So for example, if you're a senior who's 65 or older, you actually don't have to worry about it. But they also put exemptions for like if you have a kid under a certain age, or the very important one, if you're medically disabled. Now that is going to become a very important thing to a lot of my clients, and if you're on Social Security disability, you want to pay attention to this video. So the big beautiful bill originally stated that if you are certified medically disabled, you are exempt from the 80-hour-a-month work requirements. That's 20 hours a week. However, it was always very vague language. What does medically disabled mean exactly? Is that Social Security disability? Is that a letter from a doctor? We just didn't know. And there's been an update. Some people who are designated as medically frail may be forced to have the work requirement. A big example that we're seeing right now is that some people who are receiving cancer treatment may not be exempt from that work requirement and may have to work in order to keep their Medicaid. Now that's very scary, and there's still a lot of unknowns. There's not a designated list yet of every disability that is going to be exempt from the work requirements, or necessarily what that even entails. Some people are saying it might be a note from your doctor, but we just don't know yet. So here are some things that you can do to help protect your benefits. Now, a big thing that I'm going to recommend is that if you're losing your Medicaid, a Medicare Advantage plan is going to be your best bet. I know a lot of people have worries about Medicare Advantage plans, but the denial rate is not as high as a lot of outlets make it seem up to be. Here's a graph from the Kaiser Foundation talking about that. Now, why Medicare Advantage and not Medicare Supplement? Well, a big thing is that with Medicare Supplement, in the first 6 months that you're eligible for the plan, there is no underwriting. Underwriting being that they can check for pre-existing conditions and they could deny you or raise your premium for that plan. Now, with a lot of my clients, a lot of people on Social Security disability, if they did not sign up in that first 6 months, they're just most likely going to be denied. And even if you do sign up, most people who sign up for Social Security disability are under age 65. A lot of insurance companies don't even cater to people under the age of 60. And if they do, it's either at a very high premium, the amount you pay per month, or very high deductible, unfortunately. And if you sign up after that first initial 6 months when you get your Part B, it is going to be even higher because you're getting the standard rate and not the preferred. So for a lot of clients who are on limited income, it's just going to be too costly, unfortunately. Now, there is a little side thing. In California, if you're on Social Security disability and you turn 65, you have eligibility to sign up for a Medicare Supplement plan a second time with no underwriting. But again, it's going to be very expensive. Supplement plans are rising each year. So why do I recommend Medicare Advantage? Well, a lot of Medicare Advantage plans, and it is going to depend on the state and the county you're in, but for a lot of the counties that I serve, they have very strong benefits. So for example, basically 0 to no premiums for a lot of my plans, very low copays for a lot of doctors, hospitals, and specialists. I can't get into detail on this video about the exact ones, and also it's always best to do a review to see what doctors and medications go to what plans. I always work from doctors backwards. There's no point in showing you a plan that has good benefits, but you can't see your doctors on. And the nice thing about Medicare Advantage plans too is that prescription drug coverage is on the plan. So unlike a supplement plan, you wouldn't have to get a secondary prescription drug plan. Now there is a thing next year that they are saying that you can designate yourself as disabled or having an illness, and for 2027 you will be exempt from enacting the work requirement immediately. And it's a stopgap to allow states to make the proper program so they can run the administration portion of who's going to be eligible and who's not going to be eligible for the program. Now, I have a bit of fear about that because it's still a very vague concept. There's not a lot of information that we have on it right now. And when there's more information, I will make a new video about it and post it for you guys to see. But in my professional experience, having a program where you can just designate yourself as disabled so you can defer your Medi-Cal work requirements till 2028. I'm not putting a lot of trust in that right now, especially for like places in California where I live. We're seeing a lot of budget cuts to Medi-Cal. There's a proposed $1 billion budget cut happening to California right now. So a lot of these states might not have the funding to make these sustainable changes. Now you might be thinking like, well, instead of getting on a Medicare Advantage plan, why don't I get on a Covered California plan? The issue with that is that once you're eligible for Medicare, you are no longer eligible to sign up for Covered California. They will not let you get on the plan. And private insurance is going to be insanely expensive as well. So your best bet it would be Medicare Advantage plans. Now, there's two options you can approach this with too. One, signing up for it right now just to secure your benefits. That way, if you have a problem with Medicaid and that drops, you will still have your Medicare to back you up immediately. And this makes it so that just no lapse in your coverage whatsoever. That's probably what I would recommend right now. But you have another option too. There's a thing called the special election period. With a special election period, there's a very list of categories that allows you to make a change outside of an open enrollment, which is generally from October 15th to December 7th in the year. Now, the special election period I'm talking about is if there's a change to your Medi-Cal, you have the option to switch to a new Medicare Advantage plan or to switch off of a Medicare Advantage plan. So if you wanted to be like, hey, I'm just going to try to exempt it for next year so I can keep it for 2027 and look at Medicare Advantage plans for 2028, you have that option. The only thing I would say though is that it'd probably be good just to do it right now, because later on, if there's going to be a mass flux of people losing their Medi-Cal or Medi-Cal recipients who are on Medicare going to a Medicare Advantage plan, a lot of these doctor's offices are going to be a bit overwhelmed and might not have the time to see you in time. Even if you're already a patient of that doctor's office, how it generally works is that once you get on a Medicare Advantage plan, even if you have prior care with that doctor, you are still seen as a new patient. Your medical records stay, but you have to get a new referral, and the way they get you into the system too is by new patient. And new patient visits generally have a longer wait time than if you're a recurring patient. One thing that I experience is that a client already has a doctor, and that doctor does take Medicare Advantage plans, but they stop taking new clients with that Medicare Advantage plan or that medical group. So even though they're a continuing client, they are not able to see that doctor again because, it is treated as a new plan and the panel is closed. So if we get an influx of people going from Medi-Cal to Medicare, and they're seeing more doctors, there might be a lot more panels closed, or there might be longer wait times to get that initial doctor's appointment. That's why I would personally recommend doing the Medicare Advantage plan now, so that way in the future, if that does happen, you don't have to go through that process when the system is being influxed. Again, there's a lot of changes happening right now, and there's a lot of information that us agents just don't know about as well, and neither do the doctor's offices or their insurance plans. This really goes into effect in 2027, and when there's new information, I will let you know as well. I'll do another video on this, and especially when we get an exact list of what is not going to be considered medically disabled. Once that definition is finalized, that'll provide a lot of clarity on the situation and could give you a good pathway and what the best thing for you to do in regards to your benefits. Because right now, it looks like Social Security disability benefits as it is not going to be working. Also, another concern, if more people are getting taken off the plan and we're getting more budget cuts to Medicaid, then the Medicaid managed care plans through insurance companies might drop out, and that could restrict access to doctors a lot as well. It's a very delicate system. If one doesn't get paid, other things generally fall by the wayside as well. It's just something to be wary of. So, with all that said though, if you wanted a consultation at no cost to you just to go over what might be the best thing for you, and if you live in the state of California, Arizona, Texas, Mississippi, and Nevada, you can contact me at this number on the screen, and I'll be happy to review your case for you and to see what's going to be the best option for you. Mind you, this would be a solicitation for a sale, but I don't force anybody or hard sell anybody to sign up for any plan. So if you have a consultation that doesn't work for you, that's okay. So if you have Social Security disability and you have Medi-Cal, an Advantage plan looking at them right now might be in your best interest just to secure everything in the future. If you have any more questions or want to contact me, my information is in the bio. Again, everything would be a solicitation for a sale, but I do not hard sell. And you can reach me by text message as well. I am a millennial, so if you text me, that'll probably be the fastest way to get a hold of me. But have a great day, and thank you for listening.